Good morning, viewers at home. Welcome to the program Super Dawn. I am Vera Super with you on this edition of the program. Well, it's Easter. It's Easter, and this is Easter Monday. I guess that you enjoyed your Easter Sunday. I did. I was with the children. I went to our campground where loads of kids came. We're excited. I was excited to be amongst them, and that's how I celebrated my Easter. Christ is risen, and we are risen with him. All the challenges is gone. And I want to say happy Easter to all of you. It's Easter Monday. Today is going to be a bit, we're going to rejoice because we are still in the mood. And today on this show, we're going to look at the papers. Lots of things happened over the weekend. It was a long one, and it's still long because work starts tomorrow for some of you. Well, today we'll look through the papers and tell you some of the things you missed over the weekend, and also the continuation from the weekend. And now this is Monday, not a business day. It's supposed to be a business day, but not a business day. And hey, we'll tell you more on that. On the show today, we're going to also look at how we can. The need to preserve peace and unity in Nigeria is very vital. Nigeria is a country where we have over 250 ethnic group, religious ethnicism takes place in this country, all the roadside here. So we're going to be looking at the vital things in life, and that's peace and unity is very important this morning. And of course, we're going to do some of the laughing. There's going to be a comedian in the house that will all laugh too. And I hope he will come. The road is free today, and it's loaded. Let's go on a break where we start the newspaper review.
Super Dawn, your daily live current affairs program where topical issues that border on politics, economy, sport, and sizzling national issues are analyzed, now holds every Monday to Friday, 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. on Super Screen Television. Let your voice be heard. Join us. Super Dawn, your daily live current affairs program where topical issues that border on politics, economy, sport, and sizzling national issues are analyzed, now holds every Monday to Friday, 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. on Super Screen Television. Let your voice be heard. Join us.
Welcome back. Well, this is Easter Monday, and we want to start the newspaper review. The first paper this morning is the New Telegraph, and it says looters list. Federal government releases 23 more names, and the writer says lawyers, NEF, others false government. We also have in the papers in page 5, you will see APC plans arrest of media, PDP chiefs, and that's coming from the PDP. Well, another writer here says, Osibanjo, Nigeria on the path of restoration, progress. Well, I'm just going to take this particular story here this morning, and let's look at some of the lists came up. It started 2 days ago. I saw that, and now another one. And here it says, looters list. Federal government releases 23 more names and says it's based on verifiable facts. Barely 48 hours after the federal government released a controversial list of alleged looters of the Treasury, it has again released a second batch of 23 names of persons believed to have also taken in corrupt activities during the last tenure. Topping the new list is the former National Security Advisor, NSA, Lieutenant Colonel Sambo Dasuki, who is currently under investigation by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission for allegedly embezzling a total of $126 billion, that's over $1.5 billion, and about 5.5 million pounds, besides the 2.1 billion military equipment scandal. When this list came up, the phone numbers are up. You can call to tell us about this list. We also have in the papers, in the New Telegraph, federal government, Nigeria on the path of restoration and progress. This came in from the federal government. The Vice President, Yemi Osibanjo, has assured Nigerians that the country has on the path that will lead to restoration and progress. The Vice President stated this while commiserating with Christians in the country as the rest of the world celebrated this year's Easter yesterday. I enjoyed my Easter Sunday. I mean, you know, it's fun being with the kids, shouting, please register, blah, 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 and you're dancing. It's just part of the fun yesterday. And afterwards, I had another service in the evening, beautiful service. But I'm going to take some stories more. Buhari probes foreign interference in elections. The federal government has set up an in-house committee to investigate activities of the Cambridge Analytica, a data mining firm, in its involvement during Nigeria's general elections between 2007 and 2015. We also have in the papers, we've overstayed in power, IBB tells contemporaries. Get hold of the Telegraph newspaper, New Telegraph, and you read more. Away from the Telegraph this morning, we have the Nation newspaper, and they said, Obasanjo, Nigeria on the path of restoration. And we also have in the papers this morning, I need to take this story, and it says, plots to suspend Mago uncovered. This Mago man, what is happening with this story? Always coming up in the news. Yes. The battle over the appointment of the substantive chairman for the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, that's the EFCC, is not yet over between the contending forces in government and the National Assembly. A plot to suspend the Anti-Graft Agency acting chairman, Mr. Ibrahim Mago, is being perfected by those opposed to his retention. This story is on. If the National Assembly feels Mago is not the right person, I don't know. I don't know what's happening here. Okay, other stories. Governors seek help for the poor. Prayers for leaders. Governors yesterday urged Nigerians to use the Easter period to help those in vulnerable situations, as well as pray for wisdom for those in authority while imbibing the spirit of perseverance and endurance as been done by Christ. We have this, How to Conquer the Devil by Kumi. How to Conquer the Devil. Okay, I just take some here. CPC opens inquiry into Blue Band products. You need to read more on that. Finally, from this, it says, lack of history hinders development, says Bola Awe. Get hold of the papers this morning. Wow, I must, before I go away from the Nation newspaper this morning, Fayemi says, I will run for governor. What's your take? Well, let's leave this. And you want to know the names of looters. I don't want to read that. Who is who on the list? Get hold of the Nation newspaper this morning. You'll get more on that. We also have some stories in the Punch, and it says, federal government releases fresh 23 names of alleged looters. And the writer says 3 senators, 3 ex-governors, designing listed. We also have this from the PDP. It says federal government taking over court duties. I don't know about that, but hey, things are happening. This is a Vos Poye, and it's in the Punch. It says, should the NYSC service year be converted to military service? Do you think the year should be converted to military service? It's in the Punch this morning. Lagos residents battle health problem over emissions. And we also have attendees alleged rape, Attendees alleged gang rapes at Favors concert. And from police, it says, suspect arrested, investigation ongoing. Landlady's child slices woman son with razor blade. I do not understand, because you're a landlord or a landlady, you begin to slice people. Easter. Lagos Speaker, senators advocate love. It's good to love one another. If you see anything wrong in another person, you can tell the person, correct with love. It's good to just share love, and that's what Easter is all about. And I don't know how you spend your Easter, but it's still on today. This is Easter Monday. We are still celebrating. I'm celebrating, and that's why I'm here this morning. In the Punch, and that's the personal banking, it says why you need to know about wire transfers. Why you need to know about wire transfers. Nigeria on the path of restoration, says Osibanjo. Away from that, we also have Fayemi joins Ekiti governor's race, won Fayoshi against violence. This is very, very interesting this morning. We also have finally, we have the Daily Trust. And it says here, ex-generals can't stop Buhari's re-election presidency. Ex-generals can't stop Buhari re-election presidency. From the, okay, I'm going to take this. The presidency said none of President Buhari's contemporaries in the army and former leaders advising him against seeking re-election can't stop him in 2019. None can stop him in 2019. We also have this federal government pro-PDP firm over hacking of Buhari's profile. Can this be true? Can it be true? PDP, Metu never rigged election for us. Metu never rigged election for us. 2 gunmen killed, kidnapped, 9 in Brini, Wari. Gunmen have killed 2 people in a village, Wari, in the Brini, Wari local government area of Kaduna State. The Daily Trust gathered yesterday that the gunmen who stormed the village at about 12 p.m. on Saturday kidnapped 9 people, including newly wedded lady in the area. Oh my God, this is not a good news. 750 cattle rustlers, kidnappers, renounce violence in Kaduna. That's a good news. All of them involved should just renounce this act. It's not good to kidnap people. Local rice witnesses high patronage. Local rice witnesses high patronage. Okorocha's endorsement of son-in-law, not outright victory. Of course, people are going to contend with that in the next election, and I'm waiting. I can't wait to see how that turns out. But Okorocha's bringing his son-in-law in this whole matter doesn't determine victory for him. Well, we'll go on a break right now. When we come back, we want to look at the need to preserve peace and unity in Nigeria. Stay with us.
Bad breath, also known as halitosis or phthosis, affects an estimated 25% of people globally. There are a number of potential causes of halitosis, but the vast majority come down to oral hygiene. Halitosis can cause significant worry, embarrassment, and anxiety, but generally it is relatively easy to remedy. The most common cause of halitosis is bad oral hygiene. If particles of food are left in the mouth, they break down by bacteria producing sulfur compounds, and there are a number of common causes of bad breath, which include smoking, tooth decay, and alcohol consumption. Bad breath in children is often due to a trapped item in the nasal cavity. Bad breath is a common problem that can cause significant psychological distress. There are a number of potential causes and treatments of halitosis, which is the third most common reason that people seek dental care after tooth decay and gum disease. The specific odor of breath varies depending on the cause of the problem. It is best to ask a close friend or relative to gauge your mouth odor, as it is very difficult to access it yourself. If no one is at hand, one way of checking the odor is to lick your wrist, leave it to dry, and then smell it. If it smells bad, there is a strong chance your breath also smells bad. Some individuals are concerned about their breath even though they may have little or no mouth odor. This condition is called halitophobia and can lead to obsessive mouth cleansing behavior. Major potential causes of bad breath include tobacco products causing their own types of mouth odor, breakdown of food particles stuck in the teeth. Some foods such as onions and garlic can also cause bad breath after they are digested. Their breakdown products are carried in the blood to the lungs where they can affect the breath. Dry mouth is another cause, as saliva naturally cleans the mouth. If the mouth is naturally dry, but due to a specific disease such as xerostomia, odors can build up. Dental hygiene, which requires brushing and flossing, ensure the removal of small particles of food that can build up and slowly break down, producing odor. A form of bacteria called plague builds up if brushing is not regular. This plague can irritate the gums and cause pockets of build up between the teeth and gums called periodontitis. Crash diets, which is fasting and low carbohydrate eating programs, can produce halitosis. This is due to the breakdown of fats producing chemicals called ketones. These ketones have a stronger aroma. Certain drug medications can also reduce saliva and therefore increase mouth odor. Other drugs can produce odors as they break down and release chemicals in the breath, such as nitrates used to treat angina, some chemotherapy chemicals, and some tranquilizers such as phenothiazines. Individuals who take vitamin supplements in large doses can also be prone to bad breath. Mouth, nose, and throat condition effects sometimes produce small bacteria covered stones that form on the tonsils at the back of the throat and produce a mouth odor. Also, infections or inflammations in the nose, throat, or sinuses can cause halitosis. which is bad breath, especially in children. It can be caused if they have a foreign body lodged in their nasal cavity. Some cancers, liver failures, and other metabolic diseases can cause halitosis due to specific mixes of chemicals that they produce. Gastroesophageal reflux disease can cause bad breath due to the regular reflux of stomach acids. Major treatment for bad breath include brushing at least twice a day, but preferably after each meal. Flossing reduces the buildup of food particles and plaque from between the teeth. Brushing only cleans around 60% of the surface of the tooth. Cleaning dentures of anything that goes into your mouth. Dentures, bridge, and mouth guard should be cleaned as recommended on a daily basis. Cleaning prevents the bacteria from building up and being transferred back into the mouth. Changing toothbrush every 2 to 3 months is also important for similar reasons. Brushing your tongue removes bacteria, food, and dead cells commonly stored up on the tongue, especially in smokers or those with a dry mouth particularly. Sometimes a tongue scraper can be useful. Avoid the dry mouth by drinking plenty of water. Avoid alcohol and tobacco, both of which dehydrate the mouth. Chewing gum or licking a sweet, preferably sugar-free, can help stimulate the production of saliva. Taking a conscious look at one's diet by avoiding onions, garlic, and spicy food, sugary foods are also linked to bad breath. Reduce coffee and alcohol consumption. Eating breakfast that includes rough foods can also help clean the back of the tongue.
Welcome back. We want to look at the need to preserve unity in a country like this in Nigeria. It's very vital that we begin to look at peace and unity, especially where we have Nigeria like this have over about 250 ethnic groups across the geopolitical zones. And so we need to begin to look at this. And we have some guests in the studios this morning. We have a legal practitioner, Eze Alala. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
And we also have Ahmed Buhari, a politician. Good morning to you.
Good morning. Good to be here.
Yes, let me start with Barrister Eze. Looking at unity and peace in a country like this, what do we need to do to begin to achieve a sustainable democracy in unity?
Yeah, thank you very much. The concept of unity is such that in Nigeria today, that's what we need. Because without unity, we cannot achieve anything. But then if you look at Nigerian palace, there are things we need to do to endanger unity in the system. One of those things is for us to de-emphasize the need to soft pedal on ethnicity. First of all, I must be a Nigerian first before becoming anything else, maybe my state. There are certain things in the system that is breeding, disunity. Things like state of origin, local government of origin, so many other things. By the time you meet an American, he will tell you an American. Can tell I'm born in Texas, I live in New York. But if you meet a Nigerian, you say, I'm an Hausa person, I'm an Igbo person, I'm thief, I'm this and that. We won't even mention Nigeria. Because that oneness, that unity is not there. So what do leaders need to do? That was why earlier last year, people were talking about restructuring. If restructuring was to hold, these are the things the system need to introduce. But
we had a national conference on this. Didn't we have a national conference?
We did.
Yes.
We did. In the national conference, the proponents of unity in Nigeria, they are one of the things they needed to. Like in the law conferences that we normally hold, these are things they discuss. What do we do to say, I'm not this, I'm a Nigerian first?
We also in that national conference, it has about 600, over 600 resolutions in that conference. So why are we not using it if it's important? Yes, let me ask Buhari this question. Looking at the ethnic groups and religious beliefs divided across the zones in our geopolitical lives, why can't we, even at that, achieve a sustainable unity?
Thank you. For me, I think only a united people can become a progressive people. And unfortunately, the way the Constitution has been designed, it's been designed to subdivide us. And the subdivision that exists between us has been, structured in such a way that politically, some people would, have gains around the system. Personally, I think the best way we can look at this is to see how we can leverage on our diversity and transform it to our strength. Most of the problems that we've had all over the years is the fact that we focus so solely on ensuring that we find a need to be different. I keep saying the only way we can have a progressive country is if we have to shun ethnicity, religion, because he's been talking about ethnicity. When you go after ethnicity, there's religion there to divide us.
Yes.
And then when you go after the religion, you see political party affiliations dividing us. After that, you see social status dividing us. After that, you see gender dividing us. There's so many things that we have embedded in our system that help divide us. And for me, the only way we can progress as a people is if we can leverage on our comparative economic advantages. He spoke about restructuring. I think restructuring would really help when it comes to economic progression, not necessarily unity. Because what the restructuring is going to do is going to still hold the zones, hold into themselves and say, we belong to this zone. This is what we do. This is what we can do.
So how can you restructure without unity?
Exactly.
Because it happened when we had the national conference.
Yes.
There were resolutions. And
yes.
It was there, the paper is there. Though this government has said that they are going to begin to look into all of those resolutions.
Part of the problem.
But how can you restructure if you're not united?
Part of the problem that we're looking at is, you see, even if we're going to restructure, it has to be a constitutional process. If you look at the constitutional process, all the regions accept the process of restructuring, believing that just the fact that a particular region is calling for this restructuring doesn't mean that the other region is going to be at a loss. What restructuring will do to this country is to make everybody work hard. It's going to make the different regions believe that we have some potentials that we just need to unlock. And this is the education that we would have to spread across. You cannot just say, we want to restructure because we believe we're the best part of the country. No, we want to restructure because we believe you can do better than this, and we can do better than this. And so let's all agree that if we hold our regions together independently, we can become better. But not forgetting one thing, that while we are holding these regions together, we are going to also be leveraging on our comparative economic advantages. Those comparative economic advantages are those things that you have in your region, I don't have in my region, he doesn't have his region, and then we'll see how we can come together.
So how do we come together with this? Because we need solutions.
Yes, we have to sensitize the people. We have to talk to the people. I'm from a state that holds the largest landmass in the country. I'm from a state that can decide to hold the entire cattle that roams around the Nigerian land space. What is wrong if my state decides this is the only thing we're going to do, and we're going to provide dairy products, not just for Nigeria, but the entire West African region? So there are some countries in Europe that this is what they do. They make about $100 million every year.
So how do you tap from it? That's what you're saying.
So we need to waken our people's consciousness to say, we don't have to depend on oil alone. Because as a matter of fact, if we're going to depend on oil alone, it looks like it's going to be insignificant in the next few years, because some other countries have already stopped the production of automobile or machinery that will use that sort of fuel. So what we're looking at now is, what can we move to? How can we progress as a people? And this is where everybody has to now go back to their regions and say, we're going to focus on what we have. Not forgetting one thing, the only way this can happen is if everybody's educated and understand we have this potential that we need to unlock.
Okay, I need to ask Eze this question. With what he has said now, it's obvious that we need to begin to restructure. Obvious that we need to begin to change our mindset. Where do we start from?
Yes,
how do we achieve that?
You see, the first thing is that we have an agency in this country, National Orientation Agency. Their major duty or function is to educate the masses to believe in the system, the Nigerian system,
the Nigerian dream,
or the Nigerian project, or Nigerian dream. Once we're able to achieve that, you see, a few years ago, somebody came, not even, he didn't come to Nigeria, Obama, precisely. He said that Nigeria do not need strong people, they need strong institutions. We held on to that. So let's build strong institutions. Just a few days ago, Bill Gates also came in, say, our economic policy cannot drive the system. We're also holding. Must we wait before people come and tell us what to do? You see, there's one institution in this country that can change a lot of things, but that institution has been neglected for too long.
What institution?
That is the National Assembly. The National Assembly. The National Assembly have the potential to drive the system, wherein every person will believe in the system.
So how do we begin to convince people to believe in the national dream, in Nigerian dream, where you enter into an office and you occupy all the spaces with your own people supposed to, you know? How do people now begin to believe that there's a dream? If you go to the local government, how do you see people, brother and sister, in a particular position where you have other people that can also occupy that position? How do we begin to go away from this mindset that it has to be my brother or it has to be my person? That's what we say, my person.
Yes.
How do we?
It's the constitution still. So we need to start focusing on competence over where you're from.
Yeah.
You know, so the problem is embedded in the constitution, because, for example, you're hearing that, oh, the president has to pick people from certain states before he can fill up his cabinet. And I'm saying to everybody, what about if he has competent people that he wants to pick from? Why do you have to worry about him not picking somebody from your state or your local government or your hometown or your family? The moment you start thinking that, then you're part of the problem.
Okay, maybe I should cut you short there. Don't you think there are also other brilliant, competent people in other places?
There are.
Don't you think so?
I think okay. So. I think so. For example, the constitution says the president has to pick one minister from his state, for example. And I am saying, what about if we've got all the best brains in Ekiti State, for example? Why can't we just pick all of them from Ekiti State and not worry about whether they're from my state or another person's state? What is most important in this kind of arrangement is the fact that he is picking up competent people. But because of the complexity of our ideology and our mindset and the fact that the National Recruitment Agency is non-performing, you know, you start thinking, this is what we're supposed to be talking to each other about. Nobody's supposed to be looking at where that person is from. And he spoke about the National Assembly. And in all honesty, the National Assembly is behaving the way it's behaving because the process that gets them into office in the first place has a problem.
Are you faulting the process?
It's the process.
Why do you say the process?
For example, you have a National Assembly, you have a representative in the National Assembly. And there is a matter, for example, the matter on whatever matter it is that has been raised, maybe not too young to run, for example, and they bring the matter to the House, and the next thing you hear from the lawmaker is, no, nay, yeah. And in reality, when this matter is, okay, for example, like how they're trying to shift the sequence for elections for next year, and you are hearing them say, yeah, nay, no, that's the most important thing you're supposed to do here is to go back to your constituency, the people who elected you, and sit down with the stakeholders and say, this is the matter on ground. What do my people want? And they will tell you, because you are a representative. Your decision is not enough to cover for your people's plight. So they tell you what they want, and you go back and you say, my answer is no or yes, and record it as one no or one yes. Do not just do the blah, 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 blah like that. And that is why we're not able to appreciate the process. That's why we're not able to appreciate the system. By the time the National Assembly is truly a representation of the people, I assure you, people will start believing that they have a voice in the country. Their voice matters, or their stake in the country is worth being part of.
Okay, I want to ask, you heard what he has said. Yes. One thing I picked is our ideology. Are you saying our ideology is not driving this country well?
What ideology?
No, I wanted him to. Then the former president, that's Babangida, Ibrahim Babangida, also said that we should begin to encourage new generation to take over? Has it affected this new generation, our ideology?
Yes, you see, my brother said the need for unity in diversity. And if a former president who have seen it all will come at this stage and say there is need for us to breed young people to take over, it means they have seen something. That is the area I'm looking at, saying that there is need for us to change our orientation. There is need for us to educate the young mind and young people to ensure that they take up the mantle of leadership. There is need for us to ensure that those we elect to represent us will say things in the light of reasoning. National Assembly, I mentioned it clearly. There are certain laws that they will look at and say, no, this particular law, we need to change it. You and I cannot do it. They are the ones to. The laws like federal character. What debars people from giving them free hand to choose whoever they are? Because of ethnicity, because of religious sentiment, because of a lot of things. What Nigeria needs at this stage is competence. Where do we get it?
Okay, you are a young man, and looking at it with what the former president said, I'm talking about Ibrahim, the general said, Babangida said that we need to give encourage new generation. Can this our generation, can we think outside the box? Can we make it different? You know,
coincidentally, I met with the general in October last year, 2017, and I said to him that, look, I'm going to be running for office of the president, and the reason why I want to do this is because there's a breakdown in system. And I said to him very clearly, the moment you do not allow a system transfer responsibility from one generation to the next generation as at when due, now time is of the essence. If you don't do that as at when due, you create a vacuum. And when you create this vacuum can be filled up with anything. It can be filled up with Boko Haram, it can be filled up with herdsmen, it can be filled up with kidnappers, it can be filled up with all the things that society does not embrace. But when it does fill up with all of these things, you start asking, how do we resolve it? And what we've done in this country is keep doing the same thing over and over and expecting something else to happen. And what did the general say after I spoke to him? He said, yes, I do agree that there should be a generational shift. I do agree that the kind of people that should be thinking for our country should be different from the kind of people that have been thinking for the country for the last 40 years at least. But not to be fair to these guys, they have held on to power for about 40 years. Yes, it's the same set of people. It's always been a past recycling here and there and everything. But more importantly, I keep using this analogy. I'm driving a car and I put my child in the back seat. After a while, I remove him from the child seat to the back seat. From the back seat, I bring him to the front. From the front, at a point in this lifetime, he holds the steering, and I'm sitting beside him, and I'm holding, and I'm like, careful, match your brake gently, drive carefully, don't speed, do this, do that. After a while, I slip off, and he drives. This is how system must flow. The moment you truncate it, there will definitely be a breakdown, and that's exactly what we're experiencing now. My generation happens to be the last link between what used to be regarded as morality and immorality, and if we don't do something about it at this very crucial time, we would have a total break.
Do you think this generation can take over power? Do you think they can achieve anything?
Yeah, the issue is that the generation, are they willing and ready to take up the challenge? Are they ready and willing to take up the challenge?
Because I'm from that generation, and so I'm from that.
I'm also a part of that generation.
Exactly. So I don't know whether if you're not willing to take the challenge, we're willing to take the challenge.
No. It's easier said than done. Are we enlightened enough? Are we equipped to take up the challenge?
So the question is, what are we doing? What are we doing?
My brother did mention about shift, generational shift. Those have been in the mantle of affairs over time for the last 40, 50 years.
Yes.
What have they done to hand over the mantle of leadership to the next generation?
Yes, we agree there's been a break.
Absolutely nothing.
Yes.
They felt that they will be. Just a few days ago, Mantle came up and made frantic disclosures, and we are all laughing. I felt bad inside me. You know why? This is a man that has been on power for too long. Only for him to come up now and say that I helped PDP to rig election. And he said it just for one purpose. He said that when we walk around the streets all over the world, we are tired of this. Must you walk around the streets before people tell you that you are doing wrong, before you know in your conscience that you're doing wrong.
No.
We need to breed people. I have young people with me. If I cannot give them the required empowerment.
What makes your first statement, you're saying, are we ready?
Yes.
Are the youth ready to take up these challenges? What have you seen? Are you not seeing willingness amongst the youth?
To be honest with you, I have not seen enough willingness among the youth. The youth we have this is that the youth that engage in social media more than getting involved.
Well,
the percentage of voting, if the youth are to harness it, youth can, vote in their like. But nobody have educated them that they, in fact, most of the youths do not even have PVC. So go to the field and sample. You see that majority of the youth, they do not have PVC.
Are you saying youth are not ready to take responsibility?
That's what I'm saying, that there's need for enlightenment now. There is need for education. There's need for orientation on the part of the youth. That will have to start from schools. Move around.
Okay.
And let them know.
I totally agree with him with regards to sensitization, with regards to education, and we have been deprived of one crucial thing that every generation needs, which is mentorship. We've not been properly mentored. We've been sidelined, and most
for
people,
too long.
And most people who were in the forefront of our generation, sort of representatives of our generation, agreed to take peanuts or appointments or distractions, as opposed to actually, struggling to see how they can be relevant in the polity. Because at the end of the day, whether we like it or not, democracy is what runs our system.
But we've seen young people, even artists, we've seen them take over responsibility in states, in National Assembly. We've seen actors, young people taking over. Are you saying they cannot go beyond that stage?
This is exactly what he pointed out. We've seen young people who are exact proteges of the system representing us, and that's what I'm trying to make you understand. So these people are not, you see, we'll just be watching TV and say, I'm a youth representative, and I'm like, when did you become my representative? I don't even know you. When did we say we have appointed you to speak on our behalf? He says a spokesperson for the youth vanguard of so and so that. We don't know those guys. What we're saying is people who believe they have the capacity, people who believe have got something to offer should start stepping forward. And when they step forward, and this is very important, and when they step forward, I want young people to not laugh at them.
Okay,
I want young people to
not, because I want you to repeat that again.
Yes.
There's a phone call. Hello, good morning to you. Good morning to you. Good morning to you. Good morning to you. Okay, we're about rounding off this segment. Yes. You were saying something before the call.
So what I'm going to say to every young person out there, there are a few young people that have come out to defy the odds, to say, we're not going to take this anymore, to say, we've got something to offer. Gone are the days when they will say the youths are not ready. I think the question now is not whether the youths are ready or not ready, but what we've been hearing is, you guys should relax, and we will give you people the support when we move forward. But I'm saying this to every young person out there. When you find a young person that's about to run, what you should do is engage him. Find out if he does share your pain and understand how to resolve some of the impending problems that we have in the system. And I'm assuring you, if we do that, you find out that we do have competent young people that are ready to move this country forward. This is an appeal to everybody to say, okay, fine, look at what we've been doing and see how we can support each other to move ourselves from where we are, because in reality, we're not moving anywhere.
Yes,
okay.
yes. I would like to profile one solution to solve the problem of generational gap. There is need. Let me refer back to the National Assembly.
You said generational gap.
Yeah, generational, because the youth, leadership is like a relay race, like a race. As you are moving, another person is taking over.
Of course, it's a baton.
Just as it said, mentorship. Youth have not been mentored enough to take up the mantle of leadership. What do we need to do? One, there should be a concerted effort for the youth and for the older generation to come together and say, yes, if we finish, who will take over? Nobody. Let us give them this opportunity by making a legislation, just as you said, not too young to run. If we make a legislation in this country, the next president should not exceed 35 years. Then we begin to look around who is willing and ready to take over.
Are the youth united?
That will bring unity. That will bring unity, because you not come together and say, see, there is a problem. our fathers, our elders, our brothers have given us this. Where do we go from here? They will see it as a challenge. But a situation where we have sit-tight politicians, those who even at 80, 90, they still want to be there. Yeah. Look at what is happening in developed societies. France, UK, Germany, and so young people coming up. Can it not happen in Nigeria?
Of course it can.
It can.
Of course
Okay,
it can.
so
But
how do we begin to...
one thing I have to clarify.
Okay.
We can't do this alone.
Yeah.
You know, and I mentioned a few things from the beginning, and I said we have to push away ethnicity, we have to push away religion, we have to push away social status, we have to push away political party ideological affiliations, we have to push away gender, and we have to have an inclusive system regardless of age. So age should not be a barrier as well, because I keep saying one thing, age is not a function of good leadership. Because very well so I have seen young people perform, and I've seen old people perform. The same way I've seen old people not perform and some young people not perform. But what is most important for Nigerians at this crucial stage is let's start engaging the people that want to run for office. And remember one thing, anytime a politician puts his hands in his pocket to pay for a campaign process, bear in mind that he has finished paying for the process. When he gets into office, he's not going to come back and do what you've asked him to do, because for him, he has already sorted you. So we should be prepared to sacrifice. We should be prepared to go through the pain and say, we are of this district, or this is where we live. We're from the Surulere side of town. We want to invite this person and this person and this person for a town hall meeting.
I'm going to hold you on that as a caller. Hello, good morning to you.
Good morning.
Good morning to you. Good morning to you.
About what my brother said, the youth were not supposed to do Nigeria. And doing something something I'm sure that Nigeria can never do. As far as the people that live on the life, people like Obasanjo, Tinubu, and the rest, they are doing corruption and the country. Without them, Nigeria cannot be covered. That is all I have to say. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. I was trying to get what he said.
Yes.
Without those names you call, Nigeria cannot move forward. Is that
Yeah,
what he
but
said?
I quite disagree with him.
Yes.
That no man is an island. Without them, Nigeria can move forward. The only problem is what we are saying, that the youth have not decided to take up the position of leadership. And you see, power is not something that you get by on a platter of gold. You must seek and ask for it. Just like what my brother is saying here, that they need to galvanize thoughts and opinion of the youth, bring them together and tell them, you can do this. You can do this.
Okay,
You know,
we'll go on this break.
sorry,
Okay,
before
continue.
we go, he made a mention about inducement, putting hands to
Okay, to give.
yeah, to give. One of the challenges is that, do we have any youth that have the financial muscle to run for an elective
Without an assistance.
Without an assistance from
Okay,
the
but we're not treating youth.
Yeah.
We're looking at, it just came up.
Unity,
We're looking at
unity.
unity.
Yeah, what can bring us
Amongst
together?
the elderly, how can we come together? We'll go on this quick break. When we come back, SuperDawn will continue. Please stay with us.
SuperDawn, your daily live current affairs program where topical issues that border on politics, economy, sport, and sizzling national issues are analyzed, now holds every Monday to Friday, 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. on Superscreen television. Let your voice be heard. Join us.
Bad breath, also known as halitosis or fetoris, affects an estimated 25% of people globally. There are a number of potential causes of halitosis, but the vast majority come down to oral hygiene. Halitosis can cause significant worry, embarrassment, and anxiety, but generally it is relatively easy to remedy. The most common cause of halitosis is bad oral hygiene. If particles of food are left in the mouth, they break down by bacteria produces sulfur compounds, and there are a number of common causes of bad breath. which includes smoking, tooth decay, and alcohol consumption. Bad breath in children is often due to a trapped item in the nasal.
Welcome back, where we're still looking at the need for peace and unity, how to preserve this. Before we went on that break, you were saying something about the youth and also the together
funds for campaign.
Yeah.
Yes, funds for campaign.
I was looking at how do the youths galvanize the required funds.
If you want to contest.
Yeah, if you want to contest. You see, he who pays the piper, he takes the tune. That's a popular saying. Hardly can you see a youth that have the financial muscle to fund campaign or election. But we were looking beyond that. It may be an impediment. But if the youths come together, they will do the Obama style of youths donating whatever they have. And
if they donate, are they sure these monies will be utilized well? Yes.
Okay, so I've been on the field for the last 2 years. I made my declaration on the 1st of October.
You didn't pay for this. Don't give us that advert.
And,
bring your advert.
No, we're trying to resolve how some of these things can be handled, because this is a very serious time in our country. And so, if this is what SuperScreen can do for the process, I think SuperScreen should be proud of doing it.
No. We buy this. We don't feel we pay salaries. But go ahead. It's very important to talk about this.
We could get a government that will make you not buy diesel anymore.
Okay.
All those things should be thought about in the long run.
Okay, go ahead.
We have what we call crowdfunding. All you need to do is to present your manifesto, your agenda, your plans to people. You need to talk to them. And people start receiving the message and believing in the message. And these people fund the projects. Because at the end of the day, it's a project. So what we're looking at here is to see how the message can resonate with what the young people want. How the message can resonate with what Nigerians want. And I will tell you, I'll be very honest with you. Young people like myself, younger than myself, have funded this project thus far. Have I gotten to the point where I feel I should go and meet one of those older people to support? Yes, but because I know that is going to distort the plan on ground, we have resisted. And that is why our total support has come from young people. And you know the good thing when people support campaigns, not just necessarily my campaign, any campaign, you become part of the process. Okay,
but I don't want us to deviate from what we're discussing today, because we're looking at peace and unity, how to preserve the need to preserve. I want to ask you, these people in power and subsequent government has come and gone.
Yes.
And you know that in election period, they use young people to distract plans.
You see,
they're talking about unity.
Yes.
I'll allow you to talk.
Yes.
Talking about unity, how do we begin to change even the older generation mindset to begin to see a bigger picture of Nigeria? How do we begin to also change the youth of Nigeria, younger brains, younger generation, to begin to see Nigeria as a project? How do we do that?
You see, if you have allowed me, this is exactly where I was going to. The fact that somebody has put his 100 naira into that project, he wants to be part of that project. He wants to see how that project will be shaped. When you actually emerge as the winner, you are not going to go back to all of them and say, take back your 100 naira, I'm going to pay you back. No. What you're going to do now is you're going to deliver the dividends of democracy. Because now you're indebted to who? The people. Not a few guys, not your own pocket, but to the people. So when they call you, you will answer, you'll be present, because you know the power that they have, and they give you this power wholeheartedly. And so what we're saying in essence is, these kind of projects is what will make people come together for a cause, for a purpose, because they're now believing in one thing together, regardless of all of those things that divided us. I was in the southeast recently, and you know, a lot of people were like, oh, don't go to the southeast, it's going to be dangerous, don't blah, blah. But they embraced the situation because they were not paying attention to the ethnicity or the religion. They were waiting for the message. And once the message resonated with them, they embraced it. And this is exactly what I want us to take to
So what message should we be preaching right now as a people?
What we should be preaching at this time is the unity for the young people to come together, to take up the position of leadership. Because, you see, if in the next 4 or 5 years...
Has the older generation failed us?
They have. They have.
Why did you say that?
Yeah, I said that because if you really check through today's paper and yesterday's paper, you can see people, the federal government dishing out figures. This person stole this person. Can we continue to hear these figures in the next 4 or 5 years?
Those figures can cripple any country.
Yeah. No, the problem is that if we keep on hearing these figures, the youth may take, it may be disastrous.
Yes.
It may be disastrous. So this is the time, the opportunity the youth can come together. They discuss.
Some people say those names and those figures are not real.
Yeah, they may not be real, but there is no smoke without fire. They may not be real. My only worry with those figures is that they need not to end in the pages of paper. They need to end in courts. We should say convictions. If there are convictions, yes, then people will begin to. But beyond that, people are tired of those figures.
Can we truly be united?
Yes.
Can we truly
yes.
be united?
And that's why I said we have to leverage on our comparative economic advantages. I keep giving examples with, you go to Sharada in Kano. In Sharada in Kano, what they do, they just beat leather. They've been beating leather for the last 200, 300 years. But when they beat this leather, people like Louis Vuitton, the French shoe bags and everything, will come and say, we're buying 3 meter by 3 meter for $3. And these people sell. But of course, there's an Oga that takes the money and gives them peanuts, and they still beat this leather. Meanwhile, I went to Aba and I went to Area markets. And I could see very clearly how these people were really industrious people, making shoes, making belts, making bags. But you know what? The one question I asked them was, where do you get your raw material from? And they said they import them. This is a disaster. Because if the ones in Kano are exporting it to Louis Vuitton and the ones here are importing it from other places, then there's no coordination. I expect that both states will come together and say, fine, let's leverage on our comparative economic advantage so that any amount we make from the sales of this produce will go back to the guys in Kano, better their lives, go back to the guys in Area market, better their lives. The next time the guys are traveling from Area market all the way to Sharada to buy this leather, they will see a church that has been built for them. Because the people are happy with them. You know why? The only thing that will make me and you call ourselves every morning is because we have a business relationship. Forget whether you are brothers or sisters. At some point, the most important people in your life are the people that profit you economically. And these are the focus areas I want us to go to and see how we can leverage our comparative economic advantages. Only then can we start seeing the need for me and him to be brothers. Other than that, we will keep finding ourselves as inhabitable.
Okay, we're about wrapping up this edition, this program today. But I want us to be specific. What do we do now?
Yeah, what we need to do, we need to educate the youth to go beyond religion, to move beyond ethnicity.
Is it just the youth? Because some people are using this youth during election, even before election. You heard of Boko Haram, you have Fulani headsmen, ethnic, same Nigerians fighting. People are using them. So how do we get those people that are using the youth?
Yeah, we need to educate Nigerians.
Yes.
To go beyond ethnicity, to go beyond religion, even to go beyond economy and see our oneness. To see this is a country of over 180 million people. That we can stand together. I will be glad in this country, in a situation where I see a youth of 30 years being the Senate President, being the Speaker of various House of Assemblies, being possibly the President of this nation, bringing like minds together and saying, to hell with Boko Haram, to hell with one of churches or one of mosque, to hell with kidnapping. It's possible. And they'll come up with a project. And this generational gap, even the older generation will also be happy with it.
Of course. And to shock you, the older generation have been really in support of what we're trying to do because they believe they feel themselves for not acting at the right time. But it always I give them an excuse. It was a military era. People were scared to exercise their
But we've been in
rights.
democracy for how many years now?
Yes, and it's the same military system that continued just, in a disguise.
How do you mean?
But more importantly, I think if we would have to have a united country, if we would have to recover that Nigerian dream that I talked about, Nigerians have to feel part of the system. And feeling part of the system is not on a regional basis. It's on a proper data management system that is going to make you accountable for being part of this country. So that when this country is thinking of a budget, they are thinking of a budget based on the number of people that exist in that country. You cannot be preparing a budget for me and I ask the Minister of Interior, I say 180 million. I ask my dear friend, Mr. Elala, and Mr. Elala tells me we're about 205 million. That's a huge gap for any kind of planning. I expect that we have a proper system, proper data management system that's going to tell us how we're going to take care of ourselves, how we're going to provide social amenities, how we're going to protect our borders, how we're going to put our policing in order, how we're going to put our education in order, how we're going to put our health system in order. Except we have the figures, we wouldn't even know where to site the next hospital. Except we have the figures, we would put a tap water for some people here, thinking that it's only 20 people that will be using it, but at the end of the day, maybe 200,000 people. Proper data management system. It's only a technologically driven system can give us the kind of country that we desire. We cannot keep running the system like it doesn't even exist. So this is what I'm saying, and only then will Nigerians start feeling the need to be part of the system. Right now, they're disconnected.
But if we do that, do you see Nigerians coming together as one?
Yes. Because something is there for them to hold on to. Right now, there's nothing for us to hold on to. Like you said, you're running your diesel, he's running his diesel, his wife is going to call him now and say the diesel is finished, they want to pump water, he go and buys another diesel, I'm doing the same thing. So we don't have anything we're holding on to. The system doesn't profit us, and so we don't even want to be part of the system.
We must wrap up now. Last word from you, final word.
The Nigerian project must work. Nigerians must come together to make it work.
Okay, what about you?
It's the same thing, really. We need to just leverage on our comparative economic advantages and see how we can unite ourselves. The fighting hasn't helped us, has it? So if it hasn't, then we should actually look for how we can have a united people. Only united people can become a progressive people.
Okay, I want to thank Ahmed Buhari. He's a politician. Thank you for coming on this edition.
Thank you.
And I wish you well.
Thank you.
And I want to thank the legal practitioner, Eze Alala. Thank you for being part of this edition. Well, viewers at home, this is where we wrap up this segment. Up next, we are expecting in the house is Easter Monday, a comedian that will make all of us laugh. Let's go on a break. We'll be right back.
Bad breath, also known as halitosis or fetoris, affects an estimated 25% of people globally. There are a number of potential causes of halitosis, but the vast majority come down to oral hygiene. Halitosis can cause significant worry, embarrassment, and anxiety, but generally it is relatively easy to remedy. The most common cause of halitosis is bad oral hygiene. If particles of food are left in the mouth, they break down by bacteria produces sulfur compounds, and there are a number of common causes of bad breath, which include smoking, tooth decay, and alcohol consumption. Bad breath in children is often due to a trapped item in the nasal cavity. Bad breath is a common problem that can cause significant psychological distress. There are a number of potential causes and treatments of halitosis, which is the third most common reason that people seek dental care after tooth decay and gum disease. The specific odor of breath varies depending on the cause of the problem. It is best to ask a close friend or relative to gauge your mouth odor, as it is very difficult to access it yourself. If no one is at hand, one way of checking the odor is to lick your wrist, leave it to dry, and then smell it. If it smells bad, there is a strong chance your breath also smells bad. Some individuals are concerned about their breath even though they may have little or no mouth odor. This condition is called halitophobia and can lead to obsessive mouth cleansing behavior. Major potential causes of bad breath include tobacco products causing their own types of mouth odor, breakdown of food particles stuck in the teeth. Some foods such as onions and garlic can also cause bad breath. After they are digested, their breakdown products are carried in the blood to the lungs where they can affect the breath. Dry mouth is another cause, as saliva naturally cleans the mouth. If the mouth is naturally dry, but due to a specific disease such as xerostomia, odors can build up. Dental hygiene, which requires brushing and flossing, ensure the removal of small particles of food that can build up and slowly break down, producing odor. A film of bacteria called plague builds up if brushing is not regular. This plague can irritate the gums and cause pockets of build-up between the teeth and gums called periodontitis. Crash diets, which is fasting and low carbohydrate eating programs, can produce halitosis. This is due to the breakdown of fats producing chemicals called ketones. These ketones have a strong aroma. Certain drug medications can also reduce saliva and therefore increase mouth odor. Other drugs can produce odors as they break down and release chemicals in the breath, such as nitrates used to treat angina, some chemotherapy chemicals, and some tranquilizers, such as phenothiazines. Individuals
Welcome back. Well, it's Easter Monday, and I know you are all there watching. You're in your houses, some of you are home, and today we want to look at comedy. Is it lucrative? White comedy, you know, but we have a guest in the studios this morning. He's a comedian, and he's Big Tony. Big Tony, good morning to you.
Good morning.
And happy Easter.
I wish you the same too.
I hope you did enjoy yesterday.
Yeah, I tried. Had a couple of events here and there. Matter of fact, I didn't get home until late yesterday.
And we have to bring you here
this
morning. Anyway, let's look at comedy. Like in December last year, I decided to go watch some comedy, you know, just to ease tension.
Yeah.
And you begin to wonder, the thousands of people come in there to watch, and you wonder, just comedy, is it that lucrative?
Okay, well, let me start by saying that much of the reason why people, I'll come to the lucrative part of it, but I want to explain why you see a lot of people, a
lot of crowd,
respond to comedy. First and foremost, laughter is medicinal. You see, laughter is something that is a response to stimuli. And these responses come based on the things we see, the things we hear, the kind of feelings that we have, and sometimes the sounds that we listen to. So you can see a cartoon, you can hear somebody talk, you can have a feeling, you can get tickled and you laugh. And all of these does something to the body. You know, it reduces stress levels. People use laughter as a form of exercise too. If you want your tummy to firm up a little bit, you can do some laughter exercises in the house.
How do you do that? You just keep laughing?
Just keep on laughing.
Is it scripted before the event? Do you script it? How does it come?
Okay, for most comedians, it is spontaneous. Like, I can just come and start talking about the blue dress you're wearing, and I'll start saying funny things about it. Now, before I came here, I didn't know you were wearing a blue dress. So that's spontaneity now. I can just come and see things that are happening around me and begin to comment about them and make people laugh. That is spontaneity. But you cannot, your trade or your craft cannot thrive based on that alone. So sometimes you also need to sit down and write some things down. Both within and outside Nigeria, most of the great comedians that made it big, Richard Pryor, Eddie Murphy, Chris Rock, Steve Harvey, Ali Baba, Bakassi, they all at some point had to write down their material and progressively work on them to ensure that they know how to elicit laughter from their audience. And so the spontaneity part is very important, but you also have to write your jokes down sometimes and perfect them. Sometimes I'm in the house all by myself, I stand in front of the mirror and I'm talking to myself, I'm making myself laugh, yes. And I'm making faces because there are some jokes that you don't deliver with a placid look on your face. You have to make some expressions that will drive the joke home. So sometimes you want to practice and say which expression drives this particular joke home. You know, so those are the things that come into play. Now, on the lucrative part of it, the comedy business is a multi
multi-billion-dollar business across the world. I call it having fun and getting paid.
For it, just like that.
Yeah, having fun and getting paid. You stand on in front of an audience, you talk for like 5 minutes, you laugh, you make people laugh, and then you smile to the bank.
So, but why comedy for you? Why comedy? Was it for the money or for the fun?
Well, this might sound a little bit cliche, but I'll say I didn't choose comedy. Comedy chose me. And I'll explain. See, when I was growing up, I was this kid that just took delight in running around the place, trying to make people laugh. I couldn't watch anybody do anything without trying to mimic the person and try to relive what the person had done. And it followed me into school. And I used to have a lot of older people make some comments like, this boy ought to grow up and work in NTA. That's the kind of feedback that I used to get. So a lot of people tell me, this young man needs to work in NTA. And the reason is very obvious. NTA then was like the only TV station that people knew about, and which they saw as the only platform where you could ply your trade. And I must confess that at some point, those comments were messing up with my mentality, because I was now growing up thinking that NTA is probably a platform where they employ clowns to make people laugh, you know, until I grew up. So it was something that I did unconsciously, and I developed unconsciously, maybe popular in school. I could just stand in front of the class, mimic somebody who is in the class, tease them, they would chase me around, people are laughing, and I was just having fun, and it became part of me. I got into the university in Ibadan, and there's this place we used to call the Hanging Beam in Kuti Hall. Hanging Beam is like a ground floor where we stand, and there is a deck on top of it. We sit down there, and you see guys from Edo, Delta, just sitting down and telling stories. These are not real jokes now. We're telling stories about our lives, things that we went through in school. I'll talk about my life in government college, usually where I did my part of my secondary school and my HSC, and the things that we did in the hostel, in the boarding house, and people will laugh. So that's how it started building up. And I discovered that I could tell real natural stories in a way that made people laugh.
Maybe you need to throw one joke now, because I like to laugh every time. People know me that I like to smile and laugh. Maybe you need to give us a joke before you continue.
Okay. When I was growing up, I was a little bit of a rascal, from what I've told you. And I remember very vividly this occasion where we were in an English language class, and my teacher said I should spell hippopotamus. Now, I knew how to spell it, but I just like making fun, and sometimes my teachers are also victims of my jokes too. So I was just messing around with this teacher, and he got angry and chased me out of the class. So now I'm going home, and I have this crazy uncle of mine who just sees me on the road and says, Tony, why are you going home? It's not. I'm like, my teacher chased me out of the class. And he said, why? I said, because I didn't spell hippopotamus. He said, you didn't spell it. It's not like you couldn't spell it. I said, I didn't. He said, let's go back and see that to your teacher. So we got there, and he was very furious. And like I said, he's a crazy guy. So he called the teacher and said, why do you chase this small boy? Because he can't spell that big thing called hippopotamus. You could not even give me something like fly or mosquito, big hippopotamus. Now I'm the one that was saying, uncle, it's not the size that matters. And the teacher was like, hey. The uncle now said, okay, now, you that think you are an English master that knows everything, if I give you something to spell for me, can you spell it? And the man in his pride said, give me anything, I can spell it. He said, okay, since you know how to spell very well, help me spell fear.
So the man...
The teacher was just looking at him. He couldn't say anything. And he said, okay, if you can't spell that, help me spell.
That's the English language now.
Well, but it's an expression. Yeah, it's an expression. So he couldn't spell anyone. From that day onwards, if the teacher tried to mess up with me in class, I would just say, yeah, and he just gets the message.
Okay, looking at this, I know, what state are you from? Because I know some people from a particular region are into comedy big time. What state are you from? Maybe I'll get it right.
I'm from Delta.
No wonder. How come people from that region cracks jokes, freely?
I think it's I'd like to say it's cultural to us. We have a peculiar way we communicate, especially the way we speak what I call the Wafi slang, which is the pidgin English. There's a way we roll our tongue when we speak the pidgin English that on itself sounds funny to outsiders, but to us it's the real deal. Okay? That's one advantage that we have. We can speak, and then we have a way with words. We have a way with words. It starts with the way we communicate. For example, I go home and I meet this young man who looks up to me as an elder brother. I have his elder brother as my school son when we were in school. So now he's reporting his elder brother to me. And now check the words he's using. He said, bros, make you wonder your guy for me. Oh. I said, what's happening? I said, the guy did Prado for me. Now check that out. Prado is a Jeep. So the guy did Prado for me means he's trying to act like he's somebody. And then guess what? He says, may you want the guy for me because one of these days I go less entire. Now that's the way we communicate. He was trying to drive a very strong message that the brother is trying to feel puffy and is going to disrespect him. And look at the way he packaged it. It's a Prado. I go less entire. Now that's something that can only happen in a place like Warri. We have a way with words, and that's how the comedy comes. We can describe a situation with very unusual language, very unusual words that make it become repackaged and makes it sound funny. So that's why I said it's cultural. We don't struggle to do it. We don't have to think too far to be able to come up with such words. And that's part of what creativity brings to bear in comedy. You have to be creative.
The way the economy is right now, a lot of people want to ease tension.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of people want to go to where you could just laugh and forget what they call sorrow, if you have one.
Yeah.
But you see, some other people also feels that it's a bit expensive, where you want to go and laugh and you're paying so much. What do you think?
In my very candid opinion.
And you're not buying those comedy, are you? It's a natural talent.
If you know what laughter does to the body, you will agree that there's no amount of money that you can pay that's too much to get laughter. Let me tell you a very story that made me cry. This is a true life story now. I did a movie titled The Prodigal Brother, in which I played a very funny Warri character called Mudiaga. By the way, a lot of people on the streets, they call me Mudiaga up to now. But it's an old movie. And then I walk into a bank in Warri, and the bank is filled up with a lot of people. So I'm trying to stay back and see whether I can join the queue or go to some other bank. And then this guy on the counter just beckons to me and said, come. And he walks up to me and said, what do you want to do? And I said, I want to withdraw some amount of money. He said, where's your check? I saw that he was just being nice to me, man. So I'm like, okay. I mean, who will not accept that kind of opportunity? So I took advantage of it. He paid me, and I said, thank you very much. And I was going to walk away. And he said, no, I should thank you very much because you did something for me that you never can imagine. And I said, what did I do for you? He said, you cured my ulcer. Now, that was huge for me. I cured your ulcer. How? He said, your movie, The Prodigal Brother, cured my ulcer. He had to pull me to a corner of the bank, and he told me the story about how he came back from work on this particular evening. His wife and his kids were watching The Prodigal Brother, and they were laughing. And he got upset because he doesn't believe in Nigerian movies. So he was like, even if you are going to laugh, why are you laughing over a Nigerian movie? So, to cut a long story short, while he was coming out of the room to come and harass them and say, hey, please, you can't do this in this house, I said something in the movie that got his attention, and he started laughing, and he was like, wow. Now, he couldn't stop the family again. He now sat down, joined them, and watched the movie to the tail end, and he kept on laughing. And that he went to bed, slept peacefully. The following morning, he woke up early, and he couldn't sleep. So he said, let me just while away time. He went back to the living room, put the movie on again, and watched it for a while before he went to work. And that day, he didn't get the usual pangs that he got from his ulcer. And because of that, he didn't take his medication.
So you can just laugh and you're okay.
That's it. So for
are you happy yourself? So those people that make us laugh, are you happy?
Well, making people laugh does not automatically translate into you being a happy person. I must confess.
Is it funny to you, the jokes you crack?
Sometimes,
I really want to know.
sometimes
These are the
they
things
don't.
I don't get to.
No, sometimes
it's not
they don't.
funny to you.
No. Sometimes I say stuff that I consider stupid, and people laugh, and I'm like, why are they laughing? You know what I'm saying? Sometimes
maybe your face expression too, because right now sitting close to you, the expression is even making me laugh.
Sometimes I say stuff that don't even make any sense to me, and people are laughing. But I usually don't give my secret away, because I know there are a lot of comedians who are watching right now. But let me just give this one, so that, because I also like to build an industry. Sometimes you keep these things to yourself, and I mean, my top secret on how I create my jokes is very simple. When I'm in a particular place and I say something, and I have up to about 5 people there, and 3 of them laugh about that thing, I take note of it. It could have just been a phrase that it could have been a story, it could have been a sentence that I just take note of it. Most times, so that I don't forget, I type it on my phone, and then when I get out of that scene, I'll now analyze that thing and create a joke out of it, and use that particular expression or that phrase as the punchline. That's how I create.
Okay, but I know that some people branch into gospel. You have gospel comedians.
Yeah.
You have, they mimic pastors and the rest. At what point do they decide? I don't know if you're a gospel comedian.
Yeah.
At what point do you decide to go into gospel? And at what point do they change their minds? I really don't know how this goes.
Well, I am both a secular comedian and both a gospel comedian, because I'm a church boy. I grew up in church. I'm still a church boy.
Maybe you need to give us one gospel. This is Easter Monday.
Yeah, definitely.
Comedy.
I don't have a problem with that.
Okay.
So, but let me just give that background
at what
first.
point?
So, I don't think there's any point that you can decide to be a gospel comedian. If you want to be a gospel comedian, you can be. If you don't want, you don't want.
Okay.
But if you have a Christian background, like somebody like me, there's no way you're not going to see things happen in church.
And you will not mimic.
Yeah, exactly. So that's it for me. But some people believe that telling jokes that are not biblical, that don't have a biblical origin, is wrong. I don't crack dirty jokes.
Because some jokes are really dirty.
Yeah, I don't crack dirty jokes. Sometimes I can make some suggestive comments, especially when I'm on campus, because students want to hear stuff like that. But I know where to draw the line so that I don't also pass the wrong message across. Now, as long as your jokes are clean, they don't pass the wrong messages across, and they don't go contrary to your beliefs as a Christian, I mean, it's safe.
We're rounding off. Before we leave, I want you to just crack one joke, one. Okay. But before then, what do you say to young people that want to go into this kind of business, release business?
Well, for young people who want to come into this business, it is good business. But first and foremost, get your act right. Work on your craft. Perfect it. Stay in front of the mirror, make faces. Make yourself laugh sometimes. If you can make yourself laugh, then you can make anybody laugh. The easiest people to make laugh are outsiders. To make yourself laugh is more difficult. So when I do stuff in front of the mirror and I laugh, I just note them and I say, this is funny. If I can make myself laugh, this is really funny. And then I perfect it. And I go on stage. Sometimes you can even do comedy without one single word. You just get on stage, make faces, make some movements, and people are laughing. Except that some of the movements sometimes may not go down well with people, because imagine,
we're used to the words.
Yeah.
We're used to you saying something.
Exactly.
So before you leave, Big Tony, can you do something gospel?
Okay.
Make me laugh.
Okay, let me do a Christian joke.
Okay.
Okay, there's this pastor who bought Bibles and wanted the congregants to go sell the Bibles. A lot of them went into the streets. They couldn't sell one single Bible. So this guy, who is a stammerer, comes and says he wants to sell the Bibles. And pastor was like, Brother Peter, I've sent guys that can talk. They couldn't sell. So he said, just give me. So he just gave him 5. Brother Peter goes, and 5 minutes later, he comes back with the money. He has sold them. Pastor was like, wow. He gave him 10. 10 minutes, he was back, he has sold. He gave him 1 carton. Before 1 hour, he's back. He gave him all of the Bibles, and in 1 day, he has sold them. He said, this is a miracle for a guy that can happily communicate. So on Sunday, he calls him and said, Brother Peter, come and tell us how you sold the Bibles. And the guy started. Oh, praise the Lord. Oh, Pastor, I was taking the Bibles from house to house. And every time I get to the front of the house, I will knock at the door. And when the owner of the house they come out, I will they ask me a question. Do you want to
I will allow you to continue with this guy. I will allow him to continue, but this is not funny at all. When you maybe I should just, I don't know how to mimic people, and I don't know how to crack jokes, but I know at times I talk and people say you're just funny, and I wonder, I'm not a comedian, but maybe I'm just me. I like to laugh, so at times I maybe say, and you took after your mom. All of you are just funny. Why did you say that? Most of my friends want me around because they want me to crack jokes. But I want you to repeat that one again.
Okay. Okay, so every time I get to the front of the house,
Help me.
I will knock at the door. And when the owner of the house come out, I will say, do you want to buy a Bible? Or do you want me to stand there and read it to you?
Read what? They'll just give me money.
You can imagine everybody say, you know what? I'll buy 10. Go and read to my neighbor.
I want to thank Big Tony. He's a comedian. Thank you for coming on this Easter Monday. I just wanted people just to be happy. It's SuperDawn and it's a special edition. Thank you so much for coming. Maybe I'll baby go on this break for sports. Oh my God. Well, sports time. Sports will be here shortly. Let's go on a break.
Thank you.
SuperDawn, your daily live current affairs program where topical issues that border on politics, economy, sport, and sizzling national issues are analyzed, now holds every Monday to Friday, 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. on Superscreen Television. Let your voice be heard. Join us.
Bad breath, also known as halitosis or fetoris, affects an estimated 25% of people globally. There are a number of potential causes of halitosis, but the vast majority come down to oral hygiene. Halitosis can cause significant worry, embarrassment, and anxiety, but generally it is relatively easy to remedy. The most common cause of halitosis is bad oral hygiene. If particles of food are left in the mouth, they break down by bacteria produces sulfur compounds, and there are a number of common causes of bad breath, which include smoking, tooth decay, and alcohol consumption. Bad breath in children is often due to a trapped item in the nasal cavity. Bad breath is a common problem that can cause significant psychological distress. There are a number of potential causes and treatments of halitosis, which is the third most common reason that people seek dental care after tooth decay and gum disease. The specific odor of breath varies depending on the cause of the problem. It is best to ask a close friend or relative to gauge your mouth odor, as it is very difficult to access it yourself. If no one is at hand, one way of checking the odor is to lick your wrist, leave it to dry, and then smell it. If it smells bad, there is a strong chance your breath also smells bad. Some individuals are concerned about their breath even though they may have little or no mouth odor. This condition is called halitophobia and can lead to obsessive mouth cleansing behavior. Major potential causes of bad breath include tobacco products causing their own types of mouth odor, breakdown of food particles stuck in the teeth. Some foods such as onions and garlic can also cause bad breath. After they are digested, their breakdown products are carried in the blood to the lungs where they can affect the breath. Dry mouth is another cause, as saliva naturally cleans the mouth. If the mouth is naturally dry, but due to a specific disease such as xerostomia, odors can build up. Dental hygiene, which requires brushing and flossing, Ensure the removal of small particles of food that can build up and slowly break down, producing odor. A form of bacteria called plague.
Welcome back. A sports segment, and it's just for a few minutes, and we have Phillips here. Phillips, good morning to you.
Yeah, good morning, Vera.
Good morning. And it's Easter Monday.
Yeah, happy Easter to all the fans out there.
Yeah. I want to also congratulate Arsenal fans. They crushed, they blasted Strokes.
Stoke City, I know you wanted to start from on that note. I know where you're actually coming back.
And Chelsea didn't win, although I still wore my blue. But I'm friends to everybody.
Absolutely.
But I'm going to allow you to continue with the sports segment while I go out behind the camera. I'll be back shortly. Let's allow Kunle continue with the sports segment.
All right, welcome to sports segment of Super Dawn. My name is Olakunle Philip. This morning, I will be looking at the news that coming from the Nigerian Football Federation. They're actually making some statements, and we'll be talking about it. We'll also be looking at the news also from the coach of the Super Eagles in person of General Roy. We have just 72 days to the commencement of the FIFA World Cup. So many things are happening. Some teams are also talking to us. We'll talk about that, and of course, we'll look at that news, the event that actually took center stage over the weekend, the boxing bout between two great boxers. It ended in favor of one of them, and of course we'll be talking so much about that. We'll also be taking a look at some athletics news, as well as news also the result of matches that went down in the English Premier League, as well as the Spanish La Liga. Well, let's start from the news coming from the NFF technical committee. They've actually come out to say there was this news making around that they've actually told the coach of the Super Eagles to submit the list of players that will be justly for honors at the FIFA World Cup in Russia come June. But the technical committee, led by one of the committee members in person of Mutiwa Adepoju, has actually come out to debunk this. They said that it's been a while that both the committee members have met, and this news is not true. And of course, General Truro can continue. They've given him the nod to pick the players, the right players that will be making Nigerian proud at the FIFA World Cup. Let's switch our attention. Let's move away from that. Still talking about the news concerning the Super Eagles. One great player from ex-international of Iceland in person of Edu Goodjohnson has actually come out to say the team, Iceland, will actually beat the Super Eagles, Argentina and Croatia to book their passage into the next round of the FIFA World Cup. How this will actually pan out remains to be seen. Also, Anthony Joshua, talking boxing right now. Anthony Joshua actually defeated Joseph Parker in the unification bout over the weekend. And of course, so many things were said before that bout. Anthony Joshua coming out to say he's going to knock out Parker before the night round. He said he's going to go down before the night round. But of course, that didn't see the light of the day, as the bout had to go on to the final bout before the unanimous judgment verdict was actually made by 3 judges. One actually awarded the bout to, the 3 awarded the bout to Anthony Joshua, 118 to 110. The second judge, 118 to 110. And of course, the third, 119 to 109. Is his 21st win in 21 bouts. Great one for him. But of course, in the last bouts, in the last 20 bouts, have actually been involved involved in. He has won 20 via knockout. Also, the coach, let's also talk about the Super Eagles coach once again. He has actually said it will take a miracle to stop the midfield players of Croatia. When you talk about top-notch players like Lukas Modric of Real Madrid, and of course Mateo Kovac of Real Madrid as well, Ivan Rakitic of Barcelona, and Ivan Perisic of Inter Milan, not forgetting Marco Rog, will be coming up against the Nigerian midfield players of John Mikel Obi, Ogene Karetebo, Wilfred Ndidi, and Eddie Ogeyi Onazi. How will these guys actually fare against these top-notch teams? That question will be answered in a matter of months. Just 72 days to the World Cup, and of course, these guys will actually be locking on against one another. Let's switch attention to what actually went down in the English Premier League over the weekend. Arsenal actually defeated Stoke City. Great one for Arsenal, and of course, it was the Gabonese Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang bagging a brace in that game. And of course, Chelsea at the bridge for the first time in 28 years, lost to Tottenham Hotspur. That was indeed a sad one. It really speaks volume of how bad they've actually fared this season under Antonio Conte. This is what we'll be taking as far as SuperDawn Sport is concerned. You can join us on Wednesdays. SuperDawn will actually continue, and of course, the SuperDawn Sport will take center stage on Wednesday. But of course, I'll go on this short break, and I will be back with Vera. Join us again.
Welcome back. Kunle, it was not a good one for Chelsea, but was a good one for Arsenal. But why I said it wasn't good for Chelsea is because they've never been beaten in their house for 28 years
against Tottenham Hotspur.
Tottenham has never done that.
A very sad one for Chelsea.
This is not a good one. But anyway, it's football, and some lose. Sometimes they win, sometimes they lose.
Yeah, it's indeed a very bad season for Chelsea. And if care is not taken, they might not just be qualifying for the UEFA Champions League for next season.
That's bad news. But we have to wrap up this edition. I want to thank Olakunle for coming on this segment.
Yeah, my pleasure.
Well, viewers at home, we must end this program right now. And I'm still smiling because that comedian, maybe I'll do that at the end of the program. Maybe I'll just do it again, try to mimic him again. Maybe I can try to put those smiles on your face. Go tomorrow. We'll see you again. It's the Monday edition. It's the Monday edition of SuperDawn. I want to thank all the crew, James. I want to thank Jubril. I want to thank For me, I want to thank IJ. I want to thank the cameraman Ahmed. I want to say a big thank you to Annie Ananaba, the producer for today's edition. Well, I'm thanking everybody, all of you. Thank you for making a wonderful program today. And I want to thank myself. I need to thank myself. And I hope you did enjoy this edition of the program. Well, tomorrow is another day. Keep watching Super Screen Television. And today is the Monday. We are ready for you. It's going to be interesting all through. Keep watching Super Screen Television. I'll see you tomorrow with another bomber packet. Keep saying, baby, 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 baby. Have a wonderful day.